Today, I'd like to talk to you about 5 relational gifts that you must have in order to have a great relationship. 5 absolute must-haves, and I talk about them in my book, Kaizen for Couples, Smart Steps to Save, Sustain, and Strengthen Your Relationship. There's lots of great stuff in there, but today I want to focus on the 5 relational gifts. And I call them that because so many times we get into a situation where we create some resentment in our relationships. You know that thing where you willingly go and do something for someone, and then they ask you for more, and instead of having the assertion and the sense of self to say, no, I can't do that, you think you should, and so you keep on giving and doing, and your resentment is building, and then you beat yourself up for feeling resentment, and you think you should be a good person and you should want to do it, but you don't. And that comes from a lack of one of the gifts, because you're giving something you don't have. In the beginning of that scenario, you had the willingness, you had the gift to give. But as you got tired of it and as you began to resent it, you no longer had that gift to give, and yet it was being asked of you. And therefore, you cannot give a gift you don't have without building resentment. So I want to talk about these 5 relational gifts. The first one is honesty. Now, in order to have the gift to give to someone, you have to have it within yourself. So one of the things we can't be in any way is denial. If we're in denial in any form, then we do not have honesty to give, because we're not honest with ourselves. And, you've heard a lot about denial. There was a long time ago that phrase came up, denial is not a river in Egypt. But denial is really a betrayal of ourselves, that we just refuse to accept the reality or a fact, and we act as though a painful event is not even happening or it didn't happen. And that prevents us from being honest with ourselves. And if we can't be honest with ourselves, we certainly can't be honest with anyone else. And denial is an outright refusal to admit or recognize that something is happening or has happened. Honesty will completely elude us at that point. But one of the important things about honesty, in my estimation, is that we have 2 words linked in the English language that I think we really need to separate. And those 2 words strike fear into people's hearts. The words are brutal honesty. Let's get rid of that. There's no need to be brutal. I like what John Powell said in The Secret of Staying in Love. He said, the genius of good communication is to be totally kind and totally honest at the same time. That's the skill we want to have, to be totally kind and totally honest at the same time. So communication skills are very important in being able to give our gifts. So honesty is very, very important. It's about being sincere and truthful and genuine without deceit or fraud or distraction. It's being able to say, yes, I didn't handle that very well. Or yes, I really am afraid of that even though I pretend I'm not. Or yes, I don't want to take responsibility for something that is really my responsibility. And when you come to become more honest in your relationships, even though it takes some learning because you need different strategies, you will feel better. You will feel so much better when you master the skill of being kind and honest at the same time. Because to be totally honest with your partner, you have to be totally honest with yourself. So the first relational gift is honesty. And the second one is safety. Are you safe with yourself? Do you tell the truth to yourself? Do you keep yourself safe? Do you keep yourself away from toxic people? Do you take good care of yourself? Do you express good boundaries? Do you recognize the toxic situations in people? We have to be able to keep ourselves safe so that we know how to help in a relationship to keep the other person safe with you and from other things. So remember, you can't give a gift you don't have. So if you are not safe with yourself, All the talking in the world is not going to help someone else learn to be safe in the relationship, because you won't follow through. You'll say the right words, but the behavior will be a little bit lacking. And, safety sometimes in a relationship looks like this. I want you to know me. So I want to be able to be vulnerable. I want to be able to tell you maybe my deepest fears or things that have happened to me, things I don't tell other people. And if I'm safe to do that, and you keep it sacred and safe with just between us, and I can count on you to do that, there's safety in that relationship. But many times people can't be quiet, and you're not safe. And maybe even you divulge something to your partner hoping for safety, and they make fun of you or they discount your feelings, and then you're not safe. But you might be doing that to yourself too. When you think of it, oh, I shouldn't feel that way, or, oh, no, good people don't think that, and you beat yourself up. Well, it will happen in your relationship too. So bring your best self, your self that is honest and has the ability to keep you safe. The third relational gift is trust. And you know how big an issue trust is. In my practice, I have clients all over the world through the magic of the internet, and trust comes up over and over and over again. Sure, there are the big overt ways, like somebody has an affair or does something incredibly obvious, but trust can be undermined in all the small ways. So first you have to have that gift. So do you trust yourself? Can you trust yourself? Can you count on yourself to keep your promises to yourself? Or does what you promised yourself fall to the bottom of the list and everybody else and everything else takes precedent? If you can't trust yourself, you'll have difficulty trusting other people, because you may have spent your life listening to other people tell you how it should be, told you what you should choose, told you who you are, told you who you should be. And you started to mold yourself to their feedback, and you didn't learn to listen to your own. So in a healthy world, it makes sense to learn from other people and to be able to rely on them, but many times you can't. Many times people have been self-serving in your life, and they have been interested in what they can get or what they can help them to get. And so trust has been eroded. Maybe you were in an unsafe situation when you were a young person. Maybe you were abused in some way or neglected. So building trust will be very difficult, and you must do it within yourself. And you must stay important with the 4 really key things to learning whether you can trust yourself. That is to know your values, things that are important to you that you would never want to be without, qualities. To know what your vision for your life is. To know what you believe in all ways, what you believe, whether that's what your belief is about how the world works or how relationships work, or spiritual beliefs, or how money works, or how careers work. Whatever it is, you have to know what your beliefs are and make sure that you've examined them. And then the 4th thing is to know what your current goals and purposes are in life. So your values, your vision for your life, your beliefs, and your purposes or goals. When you do that, you can move into a place where you can begin to trust yourself, to have taken good care of yourself. And again, it connects back to the safety. And this forms the framework for your ability to trust your partner, or even your willingness to trust your partner. You may be able to trust or unable to trust from your earlier life, but once you become willing to trust and do something differently, it has to come from being able to trust yourself. So honesty, safety, trust. So number 4 is respect, as Aretha Franklin sang, and that means to hold in a certain esteem or honor and show regard for. And how do you show regard for yourself? Do you demonstrate that you respect yourself? Do you take good care of yourself? Do you make sure that you have thought about things that would be better for you than others and act accordingly? Because that's the ways we demonstrate respect for ourselves. We have good boundaries. We don't let other people walk all over us. We refuse to be a doormat. And we refuse to twist ourselves into being a pretzel to get someone else to like us, or to get the approval even of someone else, whether we like them or we don't. So respect is very, very important. And you have to, again, go back to those 4 things. If you say you value something, then you have to behave accordingly. Then that demonstrates a respect for your values and for what you say is most important to you. And without respect, we just have relationships fall apart all over the place, because we're 100% responsible for teaching other people how to treat us. And often we do that by demonstrating how we treat ourselves. So what are you showing, folks? Are you showing people that you respect yourself, that you take care of yourself, that you're safe with yourself, that you're honest with yourself? When you do that, things get much, much better for you. Be kind and honest and careful with yourself. And take good care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And then the 5th relational gift is reliability. And you might think that sounds a lot like trust, and it does, but there's a little bit different from trust. Trust means I would absolutely give you the keys to my house. Reliability means I'm happy to have you come because you are reliable to clean the house every week or to drop by and bring my groceries, but I won't give you the key to the house. So reliable is, yes, I can count on you. Trust is, I can go the extra mile. So trust has to do with character, and reliability has to do with circumstances. So when we are with people who are reliable, they keep their word to us. And that makes us know that they are reliable. And that's why it goes full circle around to keeping our word to ourselves, that we will be able to trust ourselves because we are reliable with ourselves. So the 2 things can then meld together. So honesty, safety, trust, respect, and reliability. And when you have them to give, everything will be great. If you don't have them within yourself, you will be in resentment. And when you're in resentment, things happen. You blurt, you say things, you get angry when you didn't want to or you didn't think you were going to. Just things happen. So you must be in integrity with yourself, fully in integrity with yourself, to create those relational gifts within yourself so you'll have them to give in the relationship. And I highly recommend that you read the book Kaizen for Couples and learn so much more about it, because it's worth reading and rereading. It takes some work to give those gifts to yourself and then to have them to give to another person. But if you want to be in a healthy relationship where you feel valued and the other person does too, then it's very important for you to base your relationship on your ability to happily give honesty, safety, trust, respect, and reliability. And to learn more about my work, go to forrelationshiphelp.com. You can also go to my YouTube channel, For Relationship Help. And until then, you can always get in touch with me and we could work together if you need my help. Talk soon.